Good evening and welcome to This is Chess and Wine. My name is ADP here with your updates on chess happenings, on what's happening in and around the world of chess. Very interesting, always all relevant chess updates. So here goes. Gauteng Chess is going to be hosting their once again, the second installment of the Gauteng Inter-regional Chess Championships. Very interesting event. We saw, was it earlier this year or last year? Very big event, very nicely organized, and obviously it had very nice pictures. So it was top tier, and we saw the likes of who do you call your Kith Kumalo, Ayama Busela, Mguni Jacobs, and other top players actually taking part in that. And I think one most interesting thing about it is it has cash prizes, and that's why it can attract all these top players. And that is why I think of this thing I've been actually inquiring about with the MIYCC that's going to be happening in Limpopo, Mzansi Inter-regional. Because now I'm actually tending to pit the two against each other. Because I don't know, maybe it's possible that some players will attend both events, the Gauteng Inter-regionals and then the Mzansi Inter-provincials. But then I see that there are some players having concern with obviously the closeness of the two events. But we'll see. I mean, chess players are chess players. Some have attended African events like just days apart. Big events, it happens, right? But obviously now it's a matter of the organizing. The Gauteng Inter-provincial Chess Championship is going to be taking place on the 7th and the 8th, from the 7th to the 8th of December. While the Mzansi Inter-provincial Chess Championship is going to be taking place from the 15th to the 19th of December. So that's barely a week apart, right? Maybe just about a week apart. So yeah, so that's what's going to be happening in the Gauteng Inter-regional event. There's cash prizes. So the winning team in the open chess, in the open event, the open side of it, is going to walk away with a current guaranteed prize fund of 10,000 rand. And it's so interesting because the entry fee is only 400 rand per player. So in a team of 6 players, each obviously works out to about 400 rand per person. That's like what, 4, 8, 12, that's 1.2. So that's about what, 2,400 rand per team, and they win 10,000 rands. I am saying for now, that is much better than anything else that is promised to a team of 6 players that will be taking part. So again, if teams are organizing themselves, the Gauteng Inter-regionals is not only for the Gauteng residents, not only for Gauteng players, it is open to everyone. So regions can actually just register. I'm wondering if teams, if not through their regions, can also register themselves and be part of this event as a club, for instance. Because I know it's inter-regionals, but hey, what if your region is planning on going to one event and you and your club want to take part in this event? Will that be allowed? So yeah, that's just a question that might be asked. So yeah, that's one thing about it. It's going to be in it's going to be at UJ. I believe it last time I checked. Yes, it's going to be at the University of Johannesburg. That is the Dorpfontein campus. Yeah, it's not the main campus. It's not my former campus. I was in Kingsway. The Dorpfontein was for those engineers and things. So yeah, so that's what's happening. Registration for it is open. And here's a funny thing, very interesting thing happening in Gauteng just yesterday. Because here's a concern that most people are having, that we are all having regarding the Mzansi Inter-provincial Chess Championship. It is that everything about it seems to be happening too fast, right? Like it's 3 months short notice, so much money to be raised. And they've got a very interesting article written by Paul Wilson regarding that event, which obviously we're going to look into. But then again, it just presses on to this very same matter of short notices and obviously everything happening just quick, just closer to each other, like just without enough time, enough notice. So here's an issue with the Gauteng people. Apparently just yesterday, the regions started sending out communications to the regions, in their groups, asking, I don't know if it's just for parents, obviously in the group, they're probably asking clubs in the region, and the regions, in fact, to indicate which of the 2 events they want to be a part of, so that they can actually better arrange. So they want to know whether you want to your region or your clubs wants to take part in the Mzansi Inter-provincial Youth Chess Championship or the Gauteng Inter-regional event, right? So you have to choose. But then they're giving them only one day. The closing date for those for indication of interest is just the next day. And then from then on, I think the closing date for first 30% payment for the Mzansi Inter-provincials is on the 25th of October. So by then, every province, in fact, whew, that's going to be tough, right? So by 25 October, today being the 11th of October, or is it the 10th, regions will have to now. No, in fact, the provinces will need to have spoken to the regions. The regions need to have spoken to the clubs, and the clubs to the players, and have collected monies so that the registration could be facilitated, because by then, 30% of the money has to be paid. But who is paying? Because I think now it will make sense for the region, for a province itself, to pay just to secure a sport instead of individuals taking out money. Because now it doesn't make sense for individuals to take out money because selections and trials have not been held yet. Unless other regions and other provinces have already held their selections or trials. And again, the issue of sponsorship is a very big one, especially concerning the Mzansi Inter-provincials. Here's some interesting points from the article written by Paul Simpson. So it asks a question. Yeah, the very question of costs, right? Which actually mentioned that because of players coming from provinces like the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, the cost of traveling are going to be too hard. It's going to be taxing. If it's not going to be taxing in finances, it's going to be taxing in energy. Because if you're traveling from Cape Town, for instance, return flights will cost you 7,300 rands. And if you're traveling from George, which is obviously a region, part of a region somewhere in Cape Town, it's going to cost you 9,448 rand to travel. And if you're traveling from the Eastern Cape, it's going to cost you 7,000 rands. A return flight. And if you're traveling from KZN, it's going to cost you 6,668 rand. From Gauteng, it's very less. It's 2,368 rand. Whew. How about Free State? They did not consider it because, hey, what's happening in Free State? And then now, there's more costs that have been considered by Wilson, in fact, in his article. And this includes parents that are traveling with their kids, because obviously the section starts from under 8 all the way up to under 20, under 22, and so forth. Now, if you have a player playing in the under 8 section, under 10, under 12, under 14, probably even, and you're a parent, you would not likely to send them from the Eastern Cape alone without accompanying them, without proper supervision, unless you're a parent who's also a coach, or you know a manager, in fact, who's a family friend who is traveling already. But otherwise, it's just going to cost you even more, because now with looking at this cost as they've calculated them, it looks like it's going to cost you around 23,000 rands if you're a parent traveling with your child, with your junior player child, right? Which is, that's just the traveling costs alone. So then on top of that, there's the registration fee of 650. There is the accommodation fee and other costs of other travels from just around the venue. So yeah, man, and it seems like if it will make sense. Like I think I've also mentioned that this might be an event that Chess South Africa is using to sort of raise funds to be able to settle their FIDE debt. And on that, this is what Paul Wilson had to say. It's as far, I think, let me just read from there's actually a lot that he said. So the looming FIDE suspension, it says, this brings me to the entry fee of 650 per player. As noted above, the LOC has invited over 5,000 players, but realistically, we do not expect this many participants. It is well known that Chess South Africa owes FIDE a significant sum of money in relation to ratings and other fees, and that Chess South Africa is facing imminent suspension by FIDE for failure to pay these fees. Right? So I think he makes a suggestion some way. Is it possible that this event is being used to fund the agent repayment of FIDE debt? Has the MIYCC become the new SHACC, a tool to raise funds to settle mismanaged FIDE debt? How much do they reasonably expect to collect, and why should only a handful of chess players be left with the burden of to raise these funds? So again, I think it's a question of not everyone is going to afford to come and play there. And that is to say, not everyone is going to be contributing towards the settling of the debts. And then he makes some suggestions of how other, like, I mean, I think there's people that have come to with some other suggestions as well. Like there might be, I mean, tournament levies introduced of an extra 20 rand per player playing a FIDE chess rated tournament, so that you can help towards paying that FIDE debt, so that we obviously avoid suspension. Right now, there's also suggestions for donations, which is pretty sort of weird. Like I don't know, just a simple suggestion, but donation. I think a levy is much better, because then that will encourage the administrators to work for it. Like if they organize enough tournaments for us, then we get to pay the extra levy of 20, 30, 50 rands while we're playing. Like instead of 100 rand for a tournament, you pay 150. Unlike instead of just contributing, there needs to be some chess activities happening. And there's also the suggestion, very brilliant suggestion, that why don't we have inter-regionals happening? And obviously, money raised from those events, because obviously there's entry fee. There's going to be entry fees in those inter-regionals for the purpose of selecting towards them Mzansi inter-provincials. Every region holding inter-regionals, that's money coming into Chess South Africa. Every province holding inter-provincials. Before we get to the Mzansi inter-provincial event. Because that's like a whole lot of events now where Chess South Africa, where all players will be included. And that's the brilliant suggestion that is being made by this particular document. Out of all this is actually what I'm getting. And I think that's a very brilliant suggestion. And Chess South Africa should definitely consider it. Yeah, he has some very pertinent questions also asked, and for your consideration as well. How was the MIYCC awarded to Limpopo Chess? Was there a transparent, open tender process, including budgets, etc.? I think yes, there was something like that, but again, it was very short notice for everyone else. I think the dates, again, the closeness of the dates. Because this, I think, the invitation for regions and provinces to bid for hosting. It came in, like, I think from the time it came in, the closing date was probably next week or next month. And regions and provinces would not have enough time to actually do the proper research, to come up with the proper information. It seems like they made the invitation while they've already had somebody in mind that they were going to award it to. That's what it appears like from a distance, from where I was sitting when I was looking at this, at the invitation, when I looked at it. I'm not sure if we did a video on that, but yeah, that's what I actually thought. So that was the first question. And the second question is, selection of provincial or regional teams at short notice without policy or trials. But that's not a question. Selection of, so it says, I would like to note that I am not opposed to a national tournament of this nature under the correct conditions, format, and timing. I plan to post, further on that. So yeah, other issues related to this event, these are the issues. So the selection of provincial or regional teams at short notice without policy or trials, inappropriate use of the MIYCC as a selection wildcard tournament for the South African Junior Closed Chess Championships. Status of current Chess South Africa selection policy and amendments thereto. What alternatives were considered? That's for Andrew Leworks to answer, right? Can Chess South Africa host an expanded SHACCC tournament considering the conditions at the 2024 event? Is there any purpose to the SHACCC if we cannot avoid FIDE suspension? So yeah, very important questions. Let me know what you think of any of those questions. I don't know, your thoughts on the matter, especially of the Mzansi Inter-provincials, because it's going to be it's a very nice event. It looks like a very good event as well on paper. And in attendance, I'm thinking a lot of people can attend, because the only people that I think might be challenged financially for attending this event would be those coming from such faraway provinces. And again, the shortness of the notice for teams, for clubs, for regions, to raise funds, to run events for selections, that's a concern. But yeah, for everyone else, there is the Gauteng Inter-regional event that is happening from the 7th to the 8th of December. So two big events happening in December. And yeah, this is it for now. It's a very hot day in Sokwaba, Nelspruit, Mpumalanga, in the region of Mzansi, and I'm still sipping on a bit of wine. Good evening.